Hey everybody, my name's Ed. Okay, so we're going to do another short movie review. This time it is going to be The Good Shepherd. Released in 2006, directed by Robert De Niro, starring Matt Damon, Alex Baldwin, Angelina Jolie, William Hurt, and John Turturro. It's a drama that follows the story of an emotionally repressed man who was involved in the early days of America's espionage organizations such as the OSS, the CIA, etc. He has to deal with leaks, failed operations, as well as his troubled relationship with his family. Excuse me. The movie jumps back and forth through time and multiple flashbacks from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So the film opens with Matt Damon as Edward Wilson, a high-ranking CIA officer who has to deal with the failing of the Bay of Pigs incident. Apparently, there's some sort of leak, and the movie points to several different suspects, and maybe even Edward himself, and we jump back and forth through multiple time periods. We see Edward as a smart and talented young man in college who's a big poetry fan, but he's kind of shut himself off emotionally. Edward meets a deaf girl named Laura who he loves, but he leaves her in order to marry the daughter of a rich man that he's gotten pregnant. He's offered a membership in Skull and Bones, which is an undergrad secret society for elite men. Edward is present for the formation of the OSS during World War II and then the post war creation of the CIA. He has various career successes until the Bay of Pigs. Meanwhile, Edward feels trapped in a loveless marriage with Margaret, that's Angelina Jolie, and he has a shaky relationship with his son. Most of the time, he's unsure of who he can trust, either professionally or personally. He has few friends and is largely alienated from most things and people in his life. The movie ends on a tragic note, and while not wholly depressing, it is quite melancholy. Okay, so The Good Shepherd is well acted and has mostly well drawn characters. While it's structured almost like a suspense thriller with the mystery of the leaks, the movie is really a character driven drama. Matt plays Edward as this kind of anal retentive guy. He's the head of CIA, but the audience is still able to sympathize with him even as he makes questionable choices. We're able to ride with him as he tries to navigate his way through a morally compromised world and seemingly becomes compromised himself. So Matt Damon, I believe, did a really good job in his role as Edward Wilson. There are good supporting performances from De Niro and Baldwin. Angelina Jolie was fine. I liked Tammy Blanchard as Laura, the deaf girl. Hurt Turturro is good as well. Everyone seemed invested in the roles and mostly worked well together. I wouldn't have minded seeing more of Angelina Jolie's character, but I do understand this movie is mostly about Edward's internal struggles, rather than being a relationship film. Now, it takes place, like I said, during the Cold War, and the Cold War is basically the geopolitical tensions between the USA and Russia that lasted from the late 40s roughly until the early 90s. And that was a time that was full of espionage and proxy wars. In the movie, Edward and his colleagues engage in all sorts of lies, infiltrations, spying, and assassinations, even to the point of them turning on their former allies. Mostly, Edward and his superiors justify their acts with the assurance that all this duplicity is in the service of the greater good, although some of the characters aren't always so sure about that themselves. Now, the camera work is not all that dazzling, but it's competent filmmaking. You got a lot of decent cinematography, a lot of it shot in shadows, which of course enhances the mystery of the film. Again, it is a character driven film, so De Niro keeps the characters and the actors in small enclosed spaces. There's lots of closed rooms, low lighted sets, and that all kind of helps with the kind of claustrophobic feel of the movie. There's not a lot of sweeping scenery shots, even though that probably could have been justified with all the location switches. But the choices, I'd say, De Niro makes here mostly help with the feeling of paranoia that, of course, suits the subject matter. All right, so to wrap up, The Good Shepherd, directed by Robert De Niro and starring Matt Damon, Alex Baldwin, Robert De Niro, and Angelina Jolie. While not mind-blowing cinema, it is a pretty good film. It's well-acted character piece with interesting themes about alienation and trust. It's decently shot, slow-paced, but it's not boring. Professional, but not crazy filmmaking, and it's well-acted and has a complex, good script. It wasn't, I think, a runaway blockbuster, but it was a well-made, entertaining, and ultimately moving film. Okay, so then that's it. I got to thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And you guys have a great day. Thank you.